Good.
This is the meeting, the first meeting of the Building Standards Commission. It's 5:32, and this meeting is in session. Can I have roll call, please?
Commission Member Gracie Rosales. Commission Member Lupita de la Paz.
Here.
Commission Member Jorge Garcia. Commission Member Jesus Alejandro or Alex Alonso.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. The first, on other business,
And then you gotta ask for public comments.
public comments? Anybody have any public comments?
No, nobody signed up.
Okay.
There's none.
No public comments. Introduction of the board members and city staff. Go ahead, start with you.
Gracie, I'm sorry I'm late. I was working, but I was really looking forward to today, so.
Alright.
Alex Alonso.
And Lupita de la Paz. I'm excited to be part of this committee.
And I'm Scott Carcasey. I'm the Operations and Compliance Manager. I oversee neighborhood services. And I'm also the city's dangerous building official.
I'm Kristen Williams, I'm a code enforcement officer at Neighborhood Services. I will be doing the substandard structures, I will be doing the legwork, providing you with the files and everything y'all will need to try to prove my side of why I feel this building is substandard.
I'm John Etnip, I'm the Director of Neighborhood Services. And in conjunction with Ms. Williams, we'll be presenting files when we meet to discuss and take action on buildings that are substandard.
I'm Elspeth Teed, I'm the secretary, neighborhood services, and I'll be taking the minutes.
Ana Giraldo, helping here with the minutes.
Yeah, she's showing me.
Under other business, 5A, discuss and consider appointment of officers.
Okay, so this one, we'll need a chairperson and a vice chairperson. So y'all can offer nominations and take votes.
Okay.
And it doesn't have to be done at this meeting. If you'd like time to discuss it,
And we can do it at the next.
we can do it
Yeah,
at the next meeting.
I guess since, we see if, George Garcia is here at the next meeting, unless somebody wants to take that
I can wait.
leadership.
And hopefully by the next meeting, we'll have the other
Oh, yes.
full position and the two alternates. But
Okay.
We do have interviews set for this month.
Okay, so let's just set the next meeting.
Okay. If you would like, we can exchange contact information.
Mhm.
All of our contact information has been put there.
They don't have my cell, do you need my cell?
No.
Cause you guys will phone me if they phone you anyway.
Yeah, under discussion is all of our phone numbers.
Okay. Okay. And is this the time that we're gonna be looking at for meetings like this time?
that's up for y'all to determine.
That's for
Yeah.
y'all.
If
It's
5
something
o'clock
y'all
is
will
too
have.
early, we can do
6.
5:36.
5:36.
The earliest I can come out is at 5, so, and it fits me.
Yeah, so
Is 5:30 better then?
5:30,
I think so.
Don't bother me, 5:30.
And then
Yeah.
during the days is also, is that out of the question during the
We
day?
could do a lunchtime, but,
Most of
sometimes
them are
ours.
after.
Okay. So after.
Unless, I mean, I can, cause this one I just had like a few days whenever I saw. So
Yeah,
maybe on
this
the next time I can probably
Next
get
time
out
we-
earlier.
No, I think 5:30 sounds
Okay,
good.
5:30.
Okay.
Yeah, we kind of jumped on the agenda, but
Yeah.
Alright.
Okay.
And then y'all need to determine when we're gonna meet.
A good day.
yeah, wait, hold on. So let's go back to 5B.
5B,
Establish rules, responsibilities, and requirements of the Building Standards Commission.
in your handout is the building standards,
Chapter 7.
chapter 7 and chapter 8 that outlines the rules for the Building and Standard Commission.
And chapter
So once you review those, if you have any questions, feel free to call me or Ms. Williams. We'll be glad to answer your questions on that.
I also included, chapter 14, which is, the nuisance code. The reason being is because under the nuisance code, it's gonna be section Q, substandard structure, any structure which is in violation of the housing code as amended. Or if the, a fire hazard, if the structure appears to be a fire hazard. These are codes that we can use when sending out certified letters, things like that, so you know when you see the letters or whatever, if we're using these codes, what code exactly is in that letter. And I usually, when I send out certified letters, I highlight the violations, because our letters can sometimes include a lot, so I highlight which violations that they have, so they know these are the ones that, we're looking at. Chapter 15 is the standard housing.
And section 8 also deals with
Yeah.
the building codes, also the International Residential Code, the International Building Code, where we get a lot of our rules from also.
And when does this get revised ever?
So
or-
these 7 and 8 were just revised.
Yeah, so which part? So
Like any of these, I guess we have to update
the
any of
ordinances?
the ordinances.
Yeah, so now when, like when new laws come out, like this session, there'll be some new, laws coming out for the state of Texas. So when those come out, and if our ordinance is in contradiction to those, we have to come back and rewrite the ordinance. We've been rewriting a bunch of them, because if you go through, you'll see, I read our code of ordinances daily, but I don't expect y'all to. You'll see a lot in there from like 1962. So we're going through that process of going through and redoing them. And so that process is, usually myself, the city attorney, get together, we'll look at other cities, what they've done. Now that we have this commission, we can meet and, try to go through it. And then we draft it, present it to city council, and then they vote on it to accept it or make changes. But we're hoping going forward, we do these revisions a little more frequently, especially with new laws coming out every 2 years.
And once city council approves it, we can enforce it.
Yeah,
So
usually
that's-
there's like
that's
an
coming up.
implementation date
Okay.
that the ordinance will take effect. Like, for example, I'll tell you, our
Curbs and
parking
so on.
ordinance, we passed it and then we gave a 30-day window to kind of get education out there and do it. I don't think that's really gonna be pertinent here. But anytime there's an ordinance change, we usually give people a window that way they can learn about it.
Most of what we'll be dealing with, substandard structures that have been around a considerable length of time. And any update on the ordinance is probably not gonna affect those.
So like, what y'all should expect, right, being on this board, is code enforcement will go out. Most of the time, we respond to a complaint. And they'll identify the building or an address, and then they'll do a preliminary report, and then that comes to me. So I review their report, and then I may go out on site to look at it too, as part of my role as the dangerous building official. Because one thing that we can do, especially if it's an occupied structure, you know, if it's unsafe for habitation, we can condemn it, and there's a process in here on how we can ask people they have to move out. And then we can come back to y'all, tell you, you know, this is what we found. That's what I was mentioning before the meeting, that the owner can come in and request time to do a repair, and y'all can grant that. And then if he can't, or he or she can't bring it up to standard after that given period of time, y'all can make the determination if we need to proceed with the demolition of that building. So the main purpose of the board is y'all are the safety net for the community, right? So it prevents a city from just going out and knocking down houses, right? We have to prove to you that the building is dilapidated, substandard or unsafe, and that's what Kristen has been building case files on. It'll be pictures and all of that, and then, you know, before y'all take action, if you wanna go see the site, you can, right? And that way, you know, you get a good grasp of what we're saying, and, you know, if you decide that, yes, demolition is needed, then, you know, you guys make that call. But the purpose of the board is basically, y'all are here to represent the community, the citizens, and decide, you know, if we did present a case of a dilapidated structure, it's up to y'all to determine, did we prove that? And are there remedies other than demolition and that kind of thing? So you're kind of the safety net for the community. And most of the time, what we look at is it unsafe, right? Because especially with older buildings, you know, can kids get in them? Can, you know, is it a fire hazard? Is it pests and vermin can get in there and cause health hazards? So, you know, that's just kind of a background of the purpose of the commission is, you know, y'all are here to represent the community, basically as a protection, so that the city or city employees wouldn't just go around knocking down houses.
And you're gonna get more than pictures. We,
I usually do reports, with mine and the pictures, and, you'll see
we've
the letter
researched
that gets
property
sent out.
owners.
And copies of everything that we send out to any possible.
I get police reports, fire reports, and I also get reports from the, taxes, like,
Okay.
so we know. The reason I go through all of this is because there may be people there that have a say in this property. Most of the properties I've ran across, a lot of them are deceased. It's a lot of time and a lot of commitment to try to find kids or grandkids or cousins or, you know, people that may have a interest in the property. Along with that comes people who may be squatting there. And the first thing they tell you is, the owner of the property let me stay here. Well, I usually ask them, who is the owner? And if the names are not matching up, I'm like, So they're not, until they're able to prove to me that they're the owner, you know, to me, they're squatting there. So, when you get my file, they're pretty large. By the time I get my police reports and my fire reports and everything, and the police department's been great, and fire has been excellent about giving me the reports within hours when I ask for them. So it's not just gonna be the pictures, you're gonna get to see what has went on at that location within, I believe I've asked for 4 years. 4 years of police reports, 4 years of fire reports. So you know, this is either an issue to the community or, you know, it hasn't been a big problem.
Yeah, but the best thing to do is just read through, you know.
And in the future, I plan, this was a rush, so I plan to have y'all an agenda packet ready at least a week before the meeting. Because I do want you to see what properties we're looking at, so that you have time and you can go drive by and be like, oh, this is near a school, or oh, this is, you know, your opinion, because my opinion is a professional opinion. I can look at a house and say, you know, it's not meeting this standard. You can look at a house and be like, well, you know, we could fix it. But it's what I have learned through classes and learning, to get to where I'm at, to know whether a house is substandard or not. You're there for the people to say, you know what, I'm gonna give you a chance to fix it.
And we send notifications out prior to us presenting the file to you. We've tried to include everything we can to try to stop it, to try to mediate it before it gets to the board. Through voluntary compliance or voluntary demolition or boarding it up, making it safe. Again, it depends on
And
how bad the building
And
is.
sometimes we get that. I've had 3 or 4 volunteers. I have 2 this month that are voluntary. Sometimes we get that.
Yeah, not often,
Not often.
and the butters always.
But when
vote
it
for
comes
if
to,
I don't.
when y'all get the file, we've already exhausted everything we can try.
And I try to make sure that you see the same pictures that I'm sending in the certified letter. Because I don't.
Are we able to make a
want any
complaint on
comment.
the building now that we're part of the board?
Can you specifically?
Yes,
Of course.
Yeah,
yes,
Sure.
anybody can. Any,
Any
any,
citizen,
Yes.
Yes.
You can call the office or,
come visit us.
come visit us and, you know.
there's also the 83 GO app.
The E3 will go out.
You can use that, to report it. You can call the office. There's a lot of different ways, but yeah, anybody can report it.
Okay, I thought now we were like excluded.
no.
No.
Call
not
the
at all.
office and as you're on the phone, I'm typing up a report to send to John and Kristen.
Okay.
Okay, but yeah, I mean, just,
And it may be one we already have.
just, you know, they did a good job giving y'all a lot of information. And,
That's some homework.
you know, just kind of read through it and know what your responsibilities are and what their responsibilities are and, kind of what we're looking for.
And under section 830, we were talking about personal property, you know, if there's property left in the structure. Section 830 deals with what we have to do with that property, with that personal property. What may be considered junk to one
Still somebody's
is
belongings.
still somebody's belonging. They try to say, if we can put a dollar value on it, then we have to keep it for a certain length of time. Some of the houses some of the businesses and structures have been vacant, boarded up, semi-boarded up, or wide open since the flood of 1998.
Mhm.
They're still out there.
Mhm.
The IBC, when I look at section 8-19, building code, the IRC, most of those codes are very, very hard to come by.
Understand.
You can usually Google it, they're only gonna give you a small portion of it. So, you know, I'm not gonna require you to pay for that code. So if you have any questions about any of those codes,
You can get them on our website
You
for
can-
free.
you can post.
You can, I can, I'll get y'all's email and I can shoot you the link,
Okay.
because that's what I use. I can just go online and, we can pull the codes.
I have a question, I agree, it's best probably just wait until next meeting to designate the chairperson and such, but is that gonna delay anything where you guys, or would that change whether you can start giving us cases any
No,
sooner or
so-
later or anything?
We've been delayed for so long.
It doesn't matter.
So our next meeting, I believe we can do the chairperson and the co-chairperson at the beginning of the meeting, and then we'll be able to move forward
Okay.
with properties. In that same meeting, it's just gonna have to be.
If y'all are ready to make that decision,
We do that.
because it'll be that plus setting when you wanna have the regular meetings, the time.
And it's gonna be, trying not to overwhelm y'all, you know, so I may just do like 3 in the first meeting, and then we'll see how that goes.
And
And some of them you can't reach a decision on can be tabled till the next meeting.
Yes.
and it's a monthly meeting?
Yes, monthly.
So when do we wanna do the next one?
There's
So- We'll need to set a day and then,
Yeah, that's item 6, establish date and time of next meeting.
And there is a way, if there's a need for an emergency meeting, you can call an emergency meeting.
The next Monday.
yeah, section 6, so y'all will need to go ahead and pick a day or a week.
Is there like a flow of time that's easier for you guys do you guys have more paperwork to do during the beginning of the month, the end of the month? Cause I mean, you would be the one gathering
Yeah,
more of the
not
information.
usually, most of these cases I've already started on.
Oh,
So letters have already been sent out and like I'm ready to go with the first batch and then I'll
Okay.
move. Some of these I've worked on for a couple of years, so
Are we setting like a fixed date for all our meetings now? Like, they'll all be-
if it's easier to say like, you know what, we wanna do this on the 3rd Wednesday of every month at this time,
We can do
I was
that.
wondering if we could do a sooner meeting for this first one, since we don't really have anything going on in between now and then, right? Or
Right.
do we wanna?
Let me make sure it works.
you wanna get to work?
No, I'm just, I
I'm
know
down
we'll need
to-
the time between the
yeah.
other meetings to, go over the cases.
I
and
like his
everything, but-
enthusiasm.
Yeah.
How about the first Wednesday of every month?
I'll just need to confirm with, our
Administration.
administration staff, because since we do have a lot of boards and commissions, and I know a lot of, like, tomorrow is golf and EDC, I believe. So let me find out exactly, Wednesdays are usually pretty booked, I'll just say.
Yeah, they always work.
You know, if you wanna, Tuesdays, every other Tuesday is city council. Here pretty soon, we're gonna be doing them every Tuesday during budget
Mhm.
season. So, Mondays are usually pretty open.
Mondays is usually the planning and zoning or the.
Oh, that's right, that's
Board
right.
of Adjustments.
So, Thursdays.
Are they in the evenings as well? Planning the zonings in the evenings?
Yes, up there.
Well, I guess you guys tell us, I mean, you guys know that.
If y'all can do like maybe a Thursday,
Thursday.
Thursday works.
The
Yeah.
first Thursday of the month?
first or.
Let me get my calendar.
And as long as it's at 5:30, that way we can be able to.
At 5:30.
Alright, so we are. So the first Thursday in July is July 3rd.
No, we're not off on the third.
I would probably say, cause I know
After July the fourth, yeah. Make it
July
the second
10th.
Thursday.
Second
July
Thursday, yeah.
July 10th is a Thursday. And we can schedule for 5:30, and I'll confirm with administration, make sure the time's available, if not, we can notify you in advance.
Yeah, cause that would give me plenty of time to do an agenda and get it to y'all.
Yeah.
That's
We
So we get ahead of time.
Yeah.
a week or so.
But yeah, we'll shoot for Thursday, July 10th at 5:30.
July the 10th.
That's what I got.
Does that conclude
Does that conclude our meeting?
Yes.
our?
Say,
Item 7 is adjournment.
I'm setting adjournment.
This meeting is adjourned.
No other action? Time?
5:58.
5:58, this meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.